The familiar faces of the top women players in the world and a familiar place, San Diego, all are back. Welcome to the 2010 Olympus US Open Series.
It's where the hardcore season really kicks off.
The Olympus US Open Series.
It must be love. It must be the Olympus US Open Series.
Pro tennis is back at La Costa, just north of San Diego, with the debut of the Mercury Insurance Open. That event follows the longest-running women's tournament in the world, the Bank of the West Classic. It serves as the first stop on the Olympus US Open Series and also hosts the Women's Championship of the inaugural US Open National Playoffs. We'll have more on that in a moment, but first let's run down the top players to watch on this year's regular season of hardcore tennis, the Olympus US Open Series. Serena Williams has already won 2 majors this year, including her 4th Wimbledon singles title, where she did not lose a set over the fortnight. Serena has her sights set now on a 4th US Open singles crown, but she will be looking first to play some top-of-the-line tennis on the Olympus US Open Series. Serena is a more mature match player than ever before, and she will make her presence known this summer all through the circuit. 2 years ago, Elena was the #1 ranked woman player in the world at the end of the season. She suffered a slump in 2009, but now has regained her competitive edge. Jankovic loves competing at this time of the year and is one of the smartest match players in the business. Kim Clijsters, the 2005 and 2009 US Open champion, is a mother and a family woman first these days, but tennis remains nearly as high on her list of priorities. The Belgian has been brilliant yet somewhat unreliable this season, but she will have her chance on the Olympus US Open Series to show us all once more why she's such a crowd favorite with her speed and shot-making precision. After a disappointing quarterfinal loss at Wimbledon, Venus Williams will be seeking to make amends on the hard courts during the Olympus US Open Series. Now 30, Venus remains a force in her sport, but it will be up to Venus to convince her rivals that she can still display the consistency she will need to play her best on the hard courts over the summer. No one gave Serena Williams a tougher match at Wimbledon than Maria Sharapova, who seems to be serving at last like the Maria of old. The 2006 US Open champion is an unflagging competitor and one of the savviest players in her business. Sharapova needs a strong Olympus US Open Series to get fully prepared for the US Open, and she knows it. A number of other players will be looking to make their mark during the Olympus US Open Series, and one of them is Melanie Oudin. A year ago at 17, Oudin was the Cinderella story of the US Open, reaching the quarterfinals and building a loyal following in the process. Oudin has had difficulty maintaining the standards she set back then, yet her will to win has not waned, and she has an opportunity now to re-emerge in a serious way. Vera Zvonareva has long had the ability to step out on important stages and hold her own with top players. At Wimbledon, she got to her first Grand Slam singles final, so all eyes will be on this 25-year-old Russian as she tries to make good on the platform she built for herself in Great Britain. On the red clay of Roland Garros earlier this season, Australian Samantha Stosur reached her first Grand Slam singles final. An all-court player of the front rank, Stosur is due to have an excellent summer on the hard courts during the Olympus US Open Series. Those are the names you know. Now for some unknowns competing for a spot on the greatest stage in tennis. The US Open National Playoffs made their debut this year. It allowed anyone to compete for a spot in the qualifying tournament of the US Open. Thousands responded and competed in 16 sectional events held from Hawaii to Connecticut. Those 16 winners take the court in Stanford, California during the final weekend of the Bank of the West Classic. One woman walks away with a spot in the qualifying tournament of the US Open. Then comes the chance to play her way into the main draw. The stars of the game? You don't have to wait to see them. Their journey to the US Open takes them to the hard courts of the Olympus US Open Series. You can watch every week on ESPN2, Tennis Channel, and CBS. Check your local listings. You can also follow the action all summer long right here on OlympusUSOpenSeries.com. I'm Steve Flink, and thank you so much for watching our preview of the 2010 Olympus US Open Series.
It must be love.
It must be the Olympus US Open Series.